Gold participants from around the world. I'm Kristen Schwartz, licensed midwife and MC for Gold Learning. And today I'm chatting with Briana, Tillman, and Nick Sloan about their upcoming presentation, What a Letdown, Exploring the Physiology of the Milk Ejection Reflex. Welcome, Briana, and welcome, Nick.
Thank you. We're excited to be here.
It's so nice to have you with us today, and I know you are very busy in your work and your studies. So, Briana, why don't we start with you? Why don't you introduce yourself a little to our listeners and tell us a little about your professional journey?
Well, so I've been a mom for about 12 years, and becoming a mom was really the turning point in my career, if you will. I had never even considered anything remotely like healthcare before that. And then when I had so many difficulties with breastfeeding, I got help from La Leche League leaders, and this whole world of pediatric appointments was opened up to me. After that, I just started getting more and more involved in helping other people learn how to breastfeed or improve their breastfeeding experience, and it just sort of led me to going to medical school. So that's where I am today.
That's wonderful, and it's interesting how how your life changes once you become a mother, right? And how that triggers a whole new career for you.
That's right.
And what about you, Nick? Tell our listeners a little bit about yourself too.
Okay, yeah. So I was actually a mechanical engineer, and I enjoyed my job, but I got the opportunity to go to Haiti with an organization called Health for Haiti. And while there, I just really saw the amazing change that these physicians, nurses, and just techs had on these people's lives. And from that point forward, I really just devoted my time to figuring out how I could perform a role like that, which eventually led me to going to medical school. So that's actually where I'm at now as a third year.
Mm-hmm. So you also had a complete career change right there. So through an important experience that you made with Health for Haiti, that's a wonderful cause.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks for doing that and doing such good work here. So now let's talk a little bit about your topic that you will be presenting about. The topic is called What a Letdown, Exploring the Physiology of the Milk Rejection Reflex, I should rather say. So Briana, let's start with you. Tell us a little about how you got involved in the topic and why is this such an important issue?
Well, the first thing that really got me interested in this was that my own personal experience with the milk letdown was so different from what people had told me. They talked about that warm, tingling sensation, and I actually felt like somebody was stabbing me, and I at the same time felt really unexplainable feelings of guilt. This was 12 years ago, but I still remember it so vividly. So when I started seeing some research pop up about different experiences of the milk ejection reflex, I wanted to do a little review of the literature that's starting to be available. And then, as you'll see in the presentation, our topic sort of expanded because then once you start talking about the physiology of the milk ejection, you also want to talk about the supply and how that interacts with the milk ejection. So that I was interested in since my very first lactation cookie. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love cookies as much as the next person, but I always wondered, like, how involved is this in my actual milk production? And I can tell you a little bit about poor Nick here. He was my tutor all through the first 2 years of medical school in everything related to physiology. And so I said to him, would you come on board here and help me out with the tough physiology parts of this presentation?
That's absolutely wonderful, and that's how Nick got involved into this topic of the milk ejection reflex.
Yes, ma'am, but it's been a really interesting experience, that's for sure. I really love the physiology of of the human body in general, and then just all the key parts that play in the milk ejection reflex itself. So.
Wonderful. And before I let you two go, what is it that you would like our delegates to take away from this presentation?
I think two things are important to me. I would like for delegates to understand that often we might have these old wives' tales about what can affect our lives, and sometimes those are really based on fact, and other times they're just things that have been passed around and just sort of old stories. And the other thing that I would really like them to understand is that it's not actually that hard to do research, that you can go out there and have a group of 20 women that are interested in helping you test out some theory, and you can get going on something related to this topic here yourself.
Very good. And what about you, Nick?
Yeah, I think the interesting thing is the research portion. There's an amazing wealth of information out there, and a lot of it's really good and really easy to access. So that's definitely a big portion of why we wanted to do this. Another thing I really want to get across is just kind of the science behind the whole milk ejection reflex. Sometimes if you understand the background on what's going on there, you can kind of see for yourself how certain substances or ways of doing things will change that.
Very good. Well, thank you so much, Briana, and thank you, Nick. And I'm for sure looking forward to learning a little bit more about the research and the science behind the milk ejection reflex. The presentation, Water Letdown, Exploring the Physiology of the Milk Ejection Reflex, will be live on April 9th, 2018, and this presentation is part of our Gold Lactation Online Conference 2018. For more information on this presentation, when it will be live in your time zone, and more information on the other presentations of the conference, please visit goldlactation.com. Thank you all for listening, and thank you, Briana and Nick. Bye-bye.